Yo, what is up guys, and welcome back to a brand new league racing video. This is round number 5 around Bahrain, and as you can see we're 12 points behind championship leader Brendan Lee after our Silverstone race. And today we're gonna try and climb back up the order or at least close the gap, or maybe even overtake Brendan in the championship lead, as we got Thomas Ronnar 16 points behind, and then Otis Lawrence 26 points behind, Tom Manley on 27 points, and Nicolas Longoyen 18 points. I think Nicolas only did the opening round where he finished second behind us. But here we go then, around Bahrain. Still on our old rig, as you can see. This was still at the time I was at home, and now we're gonna try and make it into Q2 on a single set of tires. Bahrain usually not my strongest track in qualifying, but usually I'm quite decent in the race around here. So yeah, in general it's a very difficult track, very technical, very low grip on the F1 games, very harsh on traction, asks a lot from the rear tires. As we open DRS for the second time this lap into turn number 4, very important to carry a lot of minimum speed through here. And yeah, the exit is not that important as it's really short, although this is all flat out on the F1 24 game. Some weird bottoming out mid-corner through there as well. Shanaka Clay with a 26.3, Julian Klaffenbach with a 26.3. That's, I think, not going to be enough to make it into Q2. Might be close, but we're going to have to wait and see. Not a lot of people are improving on that. You can see a lot of people on 126.3s. I've seen, I think, 7 people go purple with a 26.3. Finally, Jake Benham goes to the top with a 26.2 as we head into the final sector of this lap. Let's see what we can put together in this first lap in Q1. Ismail Fassi goes faster with a 0.2 as well, keeping it as 7th gear. As we have to turn off the ERS at some points at the end of the straights with the new ERS system, as we do a 26.3 as well. And yeah, I decided, you know what, we're gonna risk it. We're gonna be a little bit risky today. And yeah, it ended up actually not being that risky. We ended up in P10 on a single run, and that means we're gonna have 2 new sets of tires if we make it to Q3. Dylan Warren, Max Grosspointer, Chanak Kinsey, Ben Saboconi, and Fabrizio Donoso out in Q1 here. Iker Baena squeezes through by 3.5 hundredths. And yeah, now we go into Q2. Used set of tires have been put on the car, and let's see what we can do right here. Across the line, we're gonna go on this used set of tires. Not a very important run because you can see how far it's off the pace relative to Q1 already, and yeah, the track is gonna be faster in Q2. So used tires probably like 6-7 tenths slower, and yeah, that's pretty much spot on as we come across the line with a 26.1. And yeah, we're gonna have to go again because we're P6 by the time everyone had finished their runs. And yeah, we still got a new set of tires anyway. So might as well go out. Even if we were P1, we would have gone out here. So we still got 2 new sets of tires and only time for 2 runs in Q3 anyway. 200's green as we go through the apex. Slightly worse exit though, a little bit under the limit perhaps on the exit there. Into turn number 4 we go, onto 4th gear, trying to get the front end to turn in. And then we are slightly up on our time, 200s. Make that actually half a tenth as we go through the chicanes. Now to 3rd gear, always very important to get good rotation through that corner and carry a lot of speed. And then one of the most difficult braking zones on the calendar. A little bit too slow on the apex speed, but we actually still gained by 1.3 tenths as we head into turn number 11 from the top of my head. Very fast left-hander, medium speed left-hander I should say. And then it's all flat out up until we start sector 3, second last corner on this track. And we are 1.6 tenths up, slight loss. I missed the apex slightly. You can clip the curb a lot more there on the inside. And then we go into the final corner of this lap. Down to 4th gear, carry a lot of speed. Again, struggling a little bit to get the front end to bite into the asphalt. But it's 1.1 tenths green. And it seems like a decent improvement, but it's only P7, with still 6-7 people to finish their laps. We've already dropped down to P8. The question is it gonna be enough? It is, as you can see there are a lot of people behind us that have finished their lap. Only Thomas Ronnar behind us that still has to finish here. And that means it's gonna be enough to make it into Q3. Julian Klavenbok, Ruben Pedreno, Tycho Hardy, Lenny Pepinter and Joris cruising out in Q2. And yeah, now this is our banker lap in Q3. New tires, of course, which is very, very nice because we can push it to the limit straight away on the banker lap. And that is 3 tenths faster than what we did at the end of Q2. And it's provisional pole position here around Bahrain. Now let's see if we can do any better on this final lap. We're gonna properly send it on this one because we've got a security of having a really good banker lap. I think we're P1 by over a 10 to Ismail Fassi. So let's see what we can do right here at the very end of Q3. You can see we gained 200s already into turn number 1. We get good rotation through turn number 1. And then hard on the power through turn number 2. Little bit of a slide, but that's fine on F124. And we 200s green. Turn the ERS slightly earlier off though, and we head into turn number 4. A little bit of understeer again. Obviously setups are not quite optimized yet at this point in the game. And it is a purple first sector again. Big gain through the fast chicanes, and now trying to get the front end to turn in. And unfortunately a big snap of oversteer on the exit, and that costs us around the 10th. Into the difficult braking zone again, slightly locking up the left front, and again clipping that inside curb. Costing us a lot of lap time again, and now it's going to be very difficult to still improve on our previous lap. Let's see what we can do through next left-hander. Yes, again, just struggling for understeer through all of those corners. And yeah, that's what I struggled with at the end of Q2 as well. But as I said, can't expect too much. Can't expect to be driving perfect laps at this point. I did not practice too much for this race as well. Again, had a lot of league races this week, 4 to be exact. And yeah, that was just a little bit too much for optimal preparation, but it's still P1 at the moment. And there are only like 4 people remaining here at the end of Q3, so we might be fine.
Started off so well.
For pole position. We're just gonna have to wait and see. 2 more people on laps. Tom Manley still to cross the line. Thomas snatches away pole position, unfortunately. And Tom Manley goes up to P8. And yeah, that gives us P2, which is more than fine on this game, or just in general. You can get a better start of the line. Different strategy, you know. Whether you're P1, 2, 3, 4, 5 after the opening lap, it doesn't matter too much because overtaking is relatively easy on F124. So yeah, let's stay calm. Pace is there in qualifying at least. Let's see how it's gonna go in the race. And as you can see, we're gonna be starting on the hard compound of tires. Pretty much the entire grid on the hard compound of tires. It is gonna be 5 red lights. And away we go. Slightly worse start than Thomas on the outside. But we're gonna head side by side into turn number 1. Gonna brake a little bit deeper. Thomas leaves the space because he knows as well, of course, there's no need for us to take risk. We just want to be P1, P2 ideally. And yeah, now we're using our battery to try and stay ahead of Ismail into turn number 4. And that is all fine. And now, yeah, we're just gonna try and swap around every lap with the DRS. DRS activated at the end of this lap already, of course, on F124. Which makes it nearly impossible to pull out of the DRS. So yeah, let's just try and keep the top 2 position, or maybe top 3 even, depending how strong the DRS and the slipstream is gonna be. As you can see, Thomas building a decent gap, 4.4 times. We got Ismail on our gearbox pretty much, and now on the very next lap, we're gonna try and get past here at the start of lap 3. Ismail Fassi sets the fastest lap of the race. We got him down our inside and braking later, which means he's gonna get the DRS on the next straight, but we got the outside, which means more momentum down the straight. And we're using a bit of our battery here just to make sure we stay ahead into turn number 4. And it looks like we're gonna get double passed on the next lap, which is fine, because you can just keep rotating around with the top 3. You can see Thomas going for it, but now we need to be careful we don't get passed by Brendan as well, and we get a little bit boxed in here, unfortunately, but we go around the outside in turn number 1, which gives us the insights for turn number 2. We leave the space for Brendan on the outside, and down to P3 we go. Brendan down our insides for turn number 4 again. We're gonna go around the outside, gives us more momentum down into the chicane. You can see we're struggling for traction a little bit. But yeah, P3 it is for now. If Brendan does not go for a move again into the next right-hander. He does not. And P3 it is. Now we just need to recharge the battery a little bit before we can go for another double move again. We got Brendan pushing behind us, which means we have to push as well. And now we're gonna have to pass Thomas. It's almost free wide into turn 1. I backed out of it at the very last moment. Brendan squeezing us a little bit on to the curb, and now we're gonna try and go for a move into turn number 4 again. Not around the outside this time, but we're gonna go for the switchback into the chicane. Unfortunately, we couldn't quite pull it off. Let's have my ERS turned off, which is fine because now we're recharging, so we can attack again on the very next lap. That's the aim here. Starting lap 10 now. You can see we're using our battery to try and go for the move into turn number 1. We go around the outside of Brendan into turn number 1. It's 3 wide. For a moment there, we get squeezed a little bit wide by Brendan there. And let's see if we can go for a move again into turn number 4. With the help of some slipstream, we go down the inside this time, rather than going for the switchback. And you can see Thomas almost into the back of his teammate there. And it could have been some front wing damage, but managed to get it stopped in time. And up to P3 we go again. You can see our battery is suffering a little bit at this point. We really pushed it there to close that gap. And yeah, now on the very next lap you can see I am struggling on the battery. And we've got Thomas going down our inside. We go around the outside again, but not really an attacking move. It's more to just use the space available. I was struggling a little bit with the balance of the car. It just felt a little bit weird. It felt a little bit unnatural. I guess it's really an F1 2014. I'm sure anyone who's played this game on the wheel knows that if you got a default setup on or a setup that's not quite right, it feels very, very weird to drive. It gets better when you've got a good setup on. But even if it's a good setup and not a great setup, it's not that great, if you know what I mean. You get my point. I hope so. Sounded terrible, but here we go again. Start of lap 14. We're gonna go for the move again into turn number 1 with the help of the overtake button. We're gonna go down the inside. I was thinking about going the inside, but that would have been 4 wide into turn 1. It's 3 wide, and we go around the outside into turn number 1, inside for turn number 2. And now I was thinking about a move into turn number 4, but I was like, let's keep a little bit calm here. And I've got Istvan in my gearbox, battling Thomas behind, and
I think that went 3 wide.
Yeah, as you can hear the little audio noise, excuse me, this was still the time. I've not found a fix yet for that. I have now, but yeah, this race is from a while back. Starting lap 20 now though. We are staying out an extra lap relative to Ismail and Brendan in P1, P2, so we can get fresher tires for the final 9 laps of the race. And you might be thinking, why are they boxing so late? But that is because we're going for the softs rather than the mediums. Everyone else is doing the exact same thing as us. Softs are great around here, so let's see where we come out. Undercut usually very powerful around Bahrain because of all the slow speed corners, which gives you a huge advantage, of course, if you're on a soft new rubber. Out we go then. We are 2.5 seconds behind Brendan. Make that over 3 seconds actually, as we're rejoining on cold tires, of course. So yeah, we got over 3 seconds to make up for, with only 1 lap tire advantage. So it's not gonna be easy, that's for sure. We got Istvan behind us, luckily. And we're just gonna be swapping ERS. I was gonna say DRS. We're just swapping DRS every lap, so we can help each other try and climb back to the top. But yeah, starting lap 24 now, we have caught up to Thomas Gal, who dropped out of DRS from the top 2. And now we're gonna try
Yeah, I know.
and get past him ASAP with the help of DRS, because he's flashing as well, which means he's recharging, and we go down the inside into turn number 1. He squeezes a little bit, and yeah, up to P4 we go behind Istvan, who is not getting DRS right here. But you can see the gap is still 3.7 seconds with, at the end of this lap, 4 laps to go. So it's not looking very likely that we're going to be capable of catching back up. Whether it was strategy or pace disadvantage, I think it was a mixture of both. I think Ismail and Brendan both were really quick, and me and Istvan just were not quite up to their standard. That to mix in with the strategy, perhaps boxing 1 lap earlier is just faster, not sure. Yeah, you can see we have caught up now 7/10 since lap 25, but that's too late. Now we have to focus on keeping P3, and as you can see, we're 7.5 tenths ahead going into the final corner. No DRS chicken for us then. In this race, we're just gonna try and win it, or not win it, finish in P3 on pure pace. No DRS. You can see how much they're gaining behind me. I think they were reaching top speeds of up to 340 kph while I was doing 300 kph down the straight. So yeah, that looked insane. Luckily they went side by side into turn number 1, and that helped me a little bit to recharge my battery. Because that was insane. 2.6 seconds is the gap now. And yeah, I think this was mainly just a slight pace disadvantage, just being slightly slower than Brendan and Ismail. Because in the space of 10 laps, if you're only 1.5 tenths faster, 1.5, 2 tenths faster, not a lot, especially with more tires, then you're already catching back up. So, you know, it was a bit of a mixture. But yeah, let's see if we can stay ahead of Thomas in this final sector. We got a 55% battery, as my audio is being absolutely muddled. As I said before, this is fixed since then. But yeah, I couldn't fix it in the editing software. But as you can see, we can quite comfortably stay ahead on this final lap. We're gonna finish 2.4 seconds behind Brendan Lee and Ismail Fassi, and we're gonna bring it home in P3. Unfortunately, Brendan once again extending the championship by an extra 3 points. Not a lot. Very happy he didn't win, because that would have made it a lot bigger loss point-wise. That would have we would have lost 10 points rather than 3. Hope you guys enjoyed. Make sure to check out jarnoopmer.com for my sim racing gloves as well, by the way. I haven't said that in a while. But make sure to check out jarnoopmer.com for my merchandise. And see you guys next time. Ciao.